This is going to absolutely blow your mind. You may have heard about Trevor Bauer being accused of battery and sexual assault by Lindsey in 2021. But what you probably haven't heard is not only that he was never charged criminally, but how this case ultimately unfolded. Hi, I'm Daniel M. Rosenberg. I'm a criminal defense attorney and the founding partner of Rosenberg, Perry & Associates. It is also my personal goal and passion to provide information and education about the criminal justice system before people become involved and entrenched in the system. And the Trevor Bauer story is something that I've been following for many years because we handle a lot of domestic violence cases. And one of the issues we have in those cases is that it's very much a he said, she said. It's always difficult to find out who's telling the truth. And when you have these intimate situations, it's extremely difficult to find out what really happened, whatever that is. In this case, Trevor Bauer is doing his best to try to disclose what really happened between he and Lindsey. So what were the allegations against Trevor Bauer? So in 2021, a woman by the name of Lindsey came forward and alleged that she was the victim of a sexual assault and battery by Trevor Bauer in May of 2021. As a result of that, Trevor Bauer was suspended from Major League Baseball for a year, and Lindsey also filed for a restraining order. That restraining order was ultimately dismissed. In response, Trevor Bauer filed a legal action for defamation against Lindsey. In that, he claimed, quote, the accuser fabricated allegations of sexual assault against plaintiff Trevor Bauer, pursued bogus criminal and civil actions against him, made false and malicious statements about him, and generated a media blitz based on her lies, close quote. He also filed lawsuits against various media outlets, which have subsequently been resolved. In response to that civil lawsuit for defamation, Lindsey filed a counter lawsuit against Trevor Bauer. We learned in October of 2023 that both lawsuits have been settled. In addition, there's something very unique and peculiar about this particular settlement, and that is typically when there's a high net worth individual involved in a lawsuit or litigation like this, there's two things that typically come with that settlement. Number one, confidentiality. All of the text messages, information, discovery that's been exchanged, all that remains confidential. You can't talk about it, you can't disparage the other party. Number two, there's a payment of money. In this case, there was no payment of money, and Trevor Bauer specifically maintained his right to speak openly about this case. So since this case has been settled, and since Trevor Bauer has maintained his right to speak publicly about it, that's exactly what he's done. On October 3rd of 2023, Trevor Bauer released a video where he spoke very openly about his experience with Lindsey and his experience with the litigation between he and Ms. Hill. And he starts the video by setting the scene. And in that video, he discloses some very interesting information. He speaks to the reason he filed his defamation lawsuit. And he says he didn't do it to collect any money. The only reason he did it was so that he could engage in the discovery process, so he could force Ms. Hill to provide information to him that he could then use to prove his innocence. He also made clear that he was never going to pay her any money. He refers to it as a single penny. Then he goes on to explain his version of events, something that he was prohibited from doing since June of 2021. He shares some text messages. One of the text messages reads, "Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers." He then explains that that's a text that Lindsey sent to one of her friends before ever meeting Trevor Bauer. Another text message that he reads, "I'm going to his house on Wednesday. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll." After meeting him, he sees another text message that he reads in the video. "Net worth 51 mil. And in response, a friend says, 'Bitch, you better secure the bag.'" He then goes on to explain how he discovered how Lindsey was planning to make up allegations against him. He reads a text message which reads, "Need daddy to choke me out. Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million. He also shares a video that was withheld from him during the litigation. And that video was taken by Lindsey on the morning of the alleged assault. And it displays her in bed next to Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer is asleep. He's wearing a sleep mask. He's not aware that anything's being videoed. And Ms. Hill is smiling and raising her eyebrows at the camera. This is on the same morning that she claimed that she was abused and scared of Mr. Bauer. He also highlights in the video that there was only one judicial proceeding where any of these claims were heard, and that was Ms. Hill's attempt to obtain a domestic violence protection order. And he shares that the judge who heard that case found that Ms. Hill had materially misled the court with her allegations and found Mr. Bauer not to have committed any conduct that was not consensual, and that restraining order was denied. So as the case unfolded, he was never charged criminally. The only court proceeding that he went to, he won. But at the end of the day, whenever you think about Trevor Bauer, whenever you look up his name, what do you think people are going to say? Isn't that the guy who beat up that girl? Isn't that the guy who was suspended from baseball for over a year? So at the end of the day, unfortunately, this is part of our criminal justice system. This inequity, this circumstance, it happens. And even more disturbing is that unfortunately, Trevor Bauer may never be able to get this stink from these allegations off him. And that's something that we in the criminal justice field deal with all the time. An experienced criminal defense attorney once said, "Every one of us can guarantee that we will not commit a crime, but none of us can guarantee that we will not be accused of one." And when you are, you need advice and counsel that you can rely on and trust, because the system is imperfect. So if you or a friend or family member have been charged or investigated for a crime, please contact our office. We're happy to help. We'll set up a time to meet, go over your case, and give you solid advice to put you in the best position for the best possible result in your circumstance. And if you like what you've seen in this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if there's a topic you'd like to learn more about, please leave a comment below or contact my office. I'd be happy to hear about it. We are criminal trial attorneys. We have your back. That's what we do.